men became doctors or engineers. I'm talking late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
और women were encouraged कि हाँ चलो कुछ होना चाहिए. But it was like teacher,
ब्यूटी पार्लर,
advertising. पता है एक dermatologist ने मुझे कभी बोला था कि she was trying to sell me on Botox. So I was like नहीं यार, needles in my face and all can't handle. So she was like, then you have to laugh quietly. So if you laugh ha तो फिर ये lines वाइन्स आ जाती हैं. तो I'm like मतलब मेरी पूरी लाइफ में हा करती हूँ. मुझे नहीं चाहिए. I've seen क्योंकि I have a zoomed out view of so many decades of how much it's changed. लेकिन day to day interactions, how much women have a voice, ये चीजें it will always be a work in progress. Because society is a work in progress. ये लोग कहीं आसमान से तो नहीं आए हैं ना. अगर हम इस place पे आ गए where a film can have Kareena Kapoor playing a बिगड़ी woman. We've gone so far away from वो जो एक था वैम्प थी या हीरोइन थी उसके बीच में कोई नहीं था. मतलब DDLJ तक you were expected to be a virgin.
देखिए आप लोग कंफ्यूज ना हो कि कैमरे के आगे चल क्या रहा है, इसलिए बता देते हैं कि अनुपमा जी को ले आए हैं हम लोग मेल फेमिनिस्ट पे. और आपसे ये वादा था कि अलग अलग प्रकार की महिलाएं लेके आएंगे शो पे. तो एक बिजनेस वुमन, राइटर, फिल्म क्रिटिक, मतलब वो तो पता है लोगों को, तो बाकी चीजें भी बताना बहुत जरूरी था. नेशनल अवार्ड विनर, कैसी हो आप?
मैं बिल्कुल ठीक हूँ और प्लीज आप जी मत लगाइए.
Growing up years, were you ever one of those rebel kids?
नहीं, I was a full nerd. One of my mother's favorite stories is कि वो हम लोग रट्टा मारते थे, right? Exam के time. So my mother, I used to be at Villa Trisa School on Pedder Road. She was waking me up सुबह को कि अगर revision करना है तो कर लेना. I said no, I've revised 7 times already. So I was that girl.
Oh my God, my best friend from school was you.
My biggest rebellion was कि I will write about Hindi cinema. That's my career.
Which is also rebellious for that time.
Very.
I think rebellious today also.
Very. मतलब किसी को नहीं लगा कि वाह क्या choice है.
हाँ, correct.
You know, men became doctors or engineers. I'm talking late 80s, early 90s. और women were encouraged कि हाँ चलो कुछ होना चाहिए. But it was like teacher,
beauty parlor,
advertising. It's so funny. जब I was watching Crew, it really hit me when I was younger. मतलब like 5, 7, 8 years old. Being an air hostess was the most glamorous job in the world. Parmeshwar Godrej was an air hostess. Maureen Wadia was an air hostess, and I was watching Tabu से कि मैं beauty queen से बाई कब बन गई पता ही नहीं चला. But you know, it was a completely different world. But at that time, to say कि I'll make my whole life around Hindi cinema was very odd. और उस वक्त ना film journalism was not seen as something great. Hindi cinema was not seen as the powerhouse that it has become. I was that kid who then said suddenly कि अब मुझे Bollywood के बारे में लिखना है. तो सब एक तो शौक में आ गए. But then I went abroad. I went to Northwestern University. I learned how to be a journalist. Then I came back क्योंकि मुझे यही करना था. Along the way, somewhere, I became a film critic.
But you've always had the loud laughter and you've been always open and about. Always.
पता है एक dermatologist ने मुझे कभी बोला था कि she was trying to sell me on Botox. So I was like नहीं यार, needles in my face and all can't handle. Like I'm not judgmental about it, लेकिन वो मुझसे होगा नहीं. तो she was like, then you have to laugh quietly. So if you laugh ha तो फिर ये lines वाइन्स आ जाती हैं. तो I'm like मतलब मेरी पूरी लाइफ में हा करती हूँ. मुझे नहीं चाहिए.
ये क्या insight दे रही हो आप? मर्दों को कोई आइडिया ही नहीं होता ये सब चीज का.
Can you imagine?
Shit यार, मतलब apart from the fact कि आप पैर ऐसे खोल के बैठ सकते हो या नहीं,
Correct.
apart from the fact कि आप किसी को जवाब दे सकते हो कि नहीं, क्या कपड़ा पहन सकते हो कि नहीं, अब आप हंसे एक तरीके से ताकि आपकी झुर्रियां ना आए.
Indeed. Future planning. As you can tell, मैंने नहीं सुना.
बट क्या फर्क पड़ता है? मैं कुछ मतलब मैं जज भी नहीं कर रहा और मैं कुछ भी नहीं कर रहा, बट मैं समझने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ कि कितना फर्क पड़ता है. क्रू में भी फैशन जिस हिसाब का है वो या तो इल फिटिंग क्लोथ्स हो गए या चलो ठीक है उनकी एक्ट्रेसेस कुड हैव आल्सो कम इन एंड सेड दे वांट टू लुक अ सर्टेन वे, बट समथिंग दैट आई डिडंट फाइंड problematic मेरी बीवी को लगी कि यार ये अभी भी मेल गेज था. We waited for the end credits and we generally end up sitting through them. The DP and director did have a male gaze and I think that also brings to the numbers. There were multiple other female issues that we could have discussed apart from just having veg non-veg, as the repetition in their job is probably not the core issue that they may have. तो वो मुझे लगा कि वहां पर हमने boundaries push की क्या, वो मेरा सवाल है कि do you think every department will have to go multifold upwards?
It's one step forward, 2 steps back. And it's not linear change. I've seen, क्योंकि I have a zoomed out view of so many decades of how much it's changed. लेकिन day-to-day interactions, how much women have a voice, you know, ये चीजें it will always be a work in progress because society is a work in progress. ये लोग कहीं आसमान से तो नहीं आए हैं ना. They're all products of the society we live in, and it's a society जो transition में है. You know, I don't think everyone's quite figured out कि क्या करना है, क्या बोलना है, what is woke, what is not. We're all figuring it out. You know, तो I feel कि the situation is much better. I think 5-7 years ago मैंने अनुष्का के साथ एक इंटरव्यू किया था जिसमें she talked about how when they go to a outdoor set, the biggest sweet is given to the hero. You know, she told me this on camera, and I don't think the generation before her would have talked about this. So the difference is that the women who have power, women like Anushka, women in front of the camera, they are much more vocal.
And she's a producer too today.
She's a producer too. It became this big thing, and finally she said to me later when I met her कि अब जहाँ भी मैं जाती हूँ, everyone says, "Madam, sweet ठीक है."
And this is an extension. Why are you to her?
But these sort of small things.
Yeah.
Because they are more vocal, because they are producers. Alia's a producer, Deepika's a producer. These are women with immense power. अगर हम इस place पे आ गए where a film can have Kareena Kapoor playing a bigdy woman, and in one scene she's obviously sleeping with some guy, obviously just because he's rich, you know, and that's fine. We've gone so far away from वो जो एक था वैम्प थी या हीरोइन थी, उसके बीच में कोई नहीं था. मतलब DDLJ तक you were expected to be a virgin.
That's true. मतलब हम इस शो पे सेक्स के बारे में बात करते हैं, आपको पता है?
Can you imagine?
हम लोग प्लेजर के बारे में बात करते हैं.
Yeah, which is so great.
Yeah. And महिलाएं जैसे कल की आती हैं और बोलती हैं नहीं मेरे को अगर if I want to then this is the brand, I buy my products from here, and I'm just like wow.
Yeah, it's a big change.
मैं 10 साल पहले क्या 5 साल पहले नहीं कर पाता.
नहीं, you couldn't have done it. And the fact कि हिंदी सिनेमा is doing it, जो बिल्कुल कंजर्वेटिव रहा है क्योंकि बॉक्स ऑफिस इज मोर फेवरेबल जब आप स्ट्रेट और नैरो पाथ पे चलो. यू नो, बड़ा हीरो, प्रिटी हीरोइन, वो ही फॉलो करो. But look at these films. The fact that they're being made is progress.
Closer to now, the last decade, women producers and all of that, वो आपको कैसे positive change लाता हुआ दिख रहा है?
The change has been phenomenal. So there's no world in which we can say कि industry is not changing. Glass ceiling है, especially theatrical फिल्मों की जब आप बात करें. OTT is a far more egalitarian space. It's led by women. It's stories about women. I mean, look at the way it's allowed women of a certain age to reinvent. Sushmita, Madhuri, Raveena, Sonal, everyone, and they're so good.
Yeah.
मतलब imagine आप इन औरतों के लिए रोल्स नहीं लिख रहे हो. मतलब माधुरी दीक्षित के लिए आप सिनेमा में can't figure out कि अब क्या करें. OTT has been a great leveler for writers, for women creators, but जब थिएट्रिकल सिनेमा में आते हो ना, बॉक्स ऑफिस इज सो इम्पोर्टेंट. एंड द ट्रूथ इज, दिस इज द फंडामेंटल ट्रूथ कि अभी भी दो क्रू हैज ओपन बिग बट वुमेन डोंट ओपन टू 50 crores, which is what KGF does. And it's all led by the box office. I saw बहुत बदलाव आया after the Dirty Picture, क्योंकि the Dirty Picture got up to 70, 80, 90 crores. और फिर suddenly सबने कहा अरे वाह ये तो चलती भी है. और फिर राजी बनी, और फिर Tanu Weds Manu Bani. You know, all these films that worked in the theaters. And the minute box office comes in, everybody says, "Acha, now we also want to make." Or the truth is, it's a business. तो अगर आपकी फिल्म उतना पैसा नहीं बनाएगी तो कोई इन्वेस्ट नहीं करेगा. It's as simple as that. And women, no matter how big our stars have been, they've never opened to the numbers that men have.
Yeah.
And that's a fundamental gap.
Truth today. सिनेमा का प्रोग्रेस देखा है आपने 60, 70, 80, 90. 2-3 सेंटेंस में if you can talk about what was it like? You've seen 70s onwards?
No. I've seen 90s.
But 80s is truly Bollywood's bad decade.
Listen, Mr. India was 80s. Masoom was 80s. So there was great cinema always. And very bad cinema. I think कि what happened in the 80s was कि वो जो middle class audience थी, upper middle class audience थी, वो VCR पे देखने लगी. So when that shift happened, then more and more filmmakers started to only cater to front benches. तो cinema became a certain type of cinema. वो जो हिम्मत वाला तोहफा, you know, which we all look at and have a great time now.
Yeah.
लेकिन उस वक्त that was the amazing
मतलब वो ये
thing.
ना कि इंटरनेट पे memes और cringe comedy तो आज तक बराबर चलती है.
Correct. But मैंने 90s से देखा, actually I've seen the shift, you know, क्योंकि early 90s when I started in 93, it was like still thoda sa Wild West types. Salman had come, Amir had come, Shah Rukh was just about arriving. It was still, all the directors were older men. There were very, very few women. But within 5-7 years, women were on sets. The first set I remember seeing women everywhere was Mansoor Khan, Good Josh.
Oh, wow.
And I looked around and there were female ADs. And I said, Mansoor, they're women. They're female ADs.
Shit.
And he said, they're more efficient. And so these tectonic shifts I have seen. Us waqt, there was one big producer named K.C. Bokadia. So I always say that I've seen Bollywood from Bokadia to Blackberry, and then how it became corporate. Late 90s, the first multiplex came up in Vasant Vihar. So I've seen it completely change. And I remember एक show था for Rangila. And I remember watching that film and feeling like, okay, something switched. Ab, it's going to be different. And then, of course, the next year, DDLJ and everything kicked in.
आपका रहा कभी take ऐसा when you're reviewing?
हाँ.
Were you able to detach, saying, I will detach my South Bombay personality,
correct,
and I will look at this from the 18-year-old in India sitting in Indore?
You can't review like that. वो नहीं होता. Because I don't know the 18-year-old in Indore. I only know myself. So जब आप review करते हो, you bring your whole self to it. Which is why to say कि unbiased reviewer is not true. मेरे तो हैं biases. You try not to let it get in the way. जैसे मुझे, I'm not a fan of blood and gore. मुझे मुश्किल होती है देखने में. Like I have to shut my eyes. Like I can't watch, honestly, Game of Thrones.
Okay, fair.
It's just too, it's unbelievable storytelling, लेकिन it's just too graphic.
या वसेपुर भी नहीं, फिर तो वसेपुर तो आपका पूरा skip ही होगा.
हाँ, वसेपुर is full skip. You try to not let that get in the way of saying कि ये अच्छा है. तो you can't say कि बुरा है क्योंकि आप नहीं देख सकते, वो नहीं कर सकते. But you can't say I'm unbiased. Of course not. You have biases.
नहीं, but आपके गूदे को सलाम for giving it back to Sandeep Reddy Vanga, because I don't think any other journalist on camera had that. और आप बड़ा straight face रख के बोल देती हो सारा.
But that's how I feel.
That's how you feel and that's how you're real. कितनी महिलाएं होती थी न्यूज रूम में उस टाइम पे, क्योंकि न्यूज रूम्स आई हैव ऑलवेज बिलीव्ड हैड पैरिटी ऑफ मेल एंड फीमेल रेशियो.
तो सीधा हमारा तो ब्यूरो था, तो दिल्ली में क्या था, आई एम नॉट रियली क्लियर. मैं तो ऑलवेज यहाँ पर मैंने काम किया है. वेयर आई फेल्ट actually I didn't feel out of place क्योंकि that was the norm, was on a film set. वहाँ पे कोई औरतें ही नहीं थी. मतलब मुझे याद है एक फिल्म पंकज पराशर ने बनाई थी, राजकुमार, माधुरी दीक्षित. So I'd gone to interview Madhuri. I'd done a cover story on Madhuri जिसमें she wore that purple outfit from Hum Aapke Hain Kaun. That was me. That was India Today cover story, Madhuri Dixit. And I remember it was me and Madhuri and her mom and her hairdresser. 4 women.
That's it.
And हमको लगा भी नहीं कि ये कुछ अजीब
अलग है. हाँ.
That was how it was.
बट आप एक कंपनी भी चलाती हो भी, फिल्म कंपेनियन है ना, तो बिजनेस इकोनॉमिक्स कभी दिमाग में आते हैं?
बहुत मुश्किल है बिजनेस यार. I'm the worst entrepreneur on the planet. Oh. Like really. Because I'm led too much by passion and love. अब ये भी करना है, वो भी करना. I'm so excited about everything. So we were already producing, and Uday Shankar. Coming back to the fantastic Uday Shankar, who along with Mr. Arun Puri has been one of the best bosses I've ever had. मुझे डर था क्योंकि इतना बड़ा सेट था. There was such financial commitment, but also 1 साल शो चलेगा. And finally it depends on access, right? Review तो मैं कर दूंगी, but फिर for the rest of the 15-20 minutes कौन आएगा interview देने? So he said to me कि you have to remember निंदक न्यारे राखिए. You must, that has to be the attitude with which you go in. They must keep you close as a critic. You can't falter on that. When I started Film Companion, the thing was कि हम film reviews करेंगे and हमको production आता है और कुछ हमने सोचा ही नहीं, बस कि हमको बहुत मजा आता है, let's do it. कोई ऐसा business plan नहीं था, कोई 3-year plan नहीं था. It was literally कि हमको मजा आता है, YouTube है, चलो शुरू करते हैं.
Not bad at all. क्या आपने एक टेक्टोनिक शिफ्ट आते हुए देखा वुमेन इन बिजनेस को लेके, जब भी आप ऐसे कोई कॉन्फ्रेंस में जाती हो जहाँ पे और एंटरप्रेन्योर से मिलती हो, और क्या अमूमन सवाल आता है आपके ऊपर एज अ वुमन एंटरप्रेन्योर दैट यू आर जस्ट लाइक ये क्वेश्चन बस हो गया, ये नहीं आना चाहिए?
बिजनेस प्लान वाला क्वेश्चन व्हिच आई ऑलवेज मेक सम,
दे आस्क यू अप फ्रंट ऐसे ही.
हाँ नहीं कि यू नो व्हाट्स द
नंबर्स लाइक,
व्हाट आर द नंबर्स लाइक, द नंबर्स इन टर्म्स ऑफ जो फिल्म कंपेनियन का फुटप्रिंट है is incredible. I'm so proud of what we've created.
No, in the last 2 years you've quadrupled it.
Yeah. So I'm thrilled with that. Am I or is anyone going to get rich off this anytime soon? I don't think so, but that's fine.
और जितने आप लोगों के साथ लोग जुड़े हैं वो वही विजन लेके चल रहे हैं.
Absolutely.
You are a mother of one daughter and a son. Have you ever consciously said, no, I need to be doing this for the son just as much as the daughter, or the daughter just as much as the son?
See, they're very different people. And the truth is कि I would be lying if I didn't say कि I'm more protective of my daughter. मुझे ज़्यादा डर लगता है. But that's because that's the way the world is. I will always ask, you know, she's at university in America, constantly taking Ubers. So, are you sharing your ride? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? Obviously, बेटा तो cricket खेल रहा है यहाँ पर, तो I don't have to do it. But maybe I wouldn't ask. So you are naturally more protective because you know what's out there.
Yeah, because we spoke of the society. Pre-MeToo and the post-MeToo Bollywood.
Yes.
आपके हिसाब से बदलाव आ गए हैं?
You know, not enough. It's such a tricky situation, Siddharth. हम कौन होते हैं किसी भी औरत को बोलने को कि you should have taken it to a committee, you should have gone all the way, you should have taken
Action.
I don't have any experience of this. So मैं कौन होती हूँ किसी और को बोलने वाली, you know? So I feel like you cannot tell anyone how much to speak and when, and you should not. But as a result, I don't think we saw enough people paying for what they did.
Yeah.
Or when that happens, it feels like, ठीक है, it passed. But I think कि there is a real sense of fear.
थोड़ी consciousness आई है.
Consciousness आ गई है, which is very important.
But as a woman of currently being in 2024, what do you think are the challenges? Like, एक औरत बनने की क्या challenges हैं आपके हिसाब से अभी?
For me, and of course, Siddharth, I come from a place of privilege, right? So it's my issues are not that, oh, I need to put food on the table. The basics are all taken care of. You're already so far ahead. In that, I think कि जो भी मिला है, I should try and push it 10 steps ahead. कि जो privilege मिली है, उसके साथ आप क्या कर रहे हो? You know, so for me, it's always that question and that challenge कि what can you do now at this point in your career? And I feel as a woman, and I think बहुत औरतों को ये है, it's the imposter syndrome.
आपके दोनों आंसर वैसे जेंडर फ्लूइड हैं, by the way, and I love that.
Do men also have imposter syndrome? मुझे तो always लगता है कि मुझे कुछ नहीं आता. I'm so scared. That I think you have to still cultivate कि that वो जो थोड़ा सा swag होता है ना, वो बिल्कुल नहीं है.
Affirmation types.
हाँ, affirmation types, थोड़ा सा confidence आना चाहिए. But truly, in terms of challenge, अगर आप बोलो सिद्धार्थ, I can't say कि ये बहुत मुश्किल है. These are all choices I've made.
Thank you. कैसा लगा आपको बात करके?
It was great fun.
तो in essence, अगर आपको ये बहुत अच्छा लगा और आपको लगता है कि फिल्म कंपेनियन और हॉटरफ्लाई को कुछ कोलैबोरेशन करना चाहिए, क्योंकि ये डुओ आपको अच्छा लग रहा है, तो प्लीज कमेंट्स में बताना. हॉटरफ्लाई को सब्सक्राइब जरूर कर लेना और फिल्म कंपेनियन को सब्सक्राइब जरूर कर लेना.
Please.
And thank you so much for watching. Bye.